Good afternoon, Tuscaloosa. Wow, good afternoon, Tuscaloosa. Internet world, everybody watching us on YouTube, Spotify, everybody watching us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on Amazon. Anybody where you get your podcasts, you can find the Joe Gaither Show right here on BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com. We are coming to you live from downtown Northport, where it is a nice day outside. We've had a little bit of rain already today, but it's been a okay morning and day so far. I hope you and yours are having a great day. We want to encourage you guys, before we get into today's program, of course, to check out our other BamaCentral.com Broadcasting Network podcast. We've got our friends All Things Bama, Katie Wyndham and Austin Hannon, and we're going to steal a little topic from them today. And then we've got our friends Blue Collar Unplugged, Matthew Gibson and Blake Byler, putting out a new episode without the president, Jacob Pickle. Oh, no. But you can find that right there on BamaCentral.com. All three episodes, all three programs, the three of us together, make up the Bama Central Broadcasting Network. We are proud to be a part of the BamaCentral Broadcasting Network. Make sure you follow BamaCentral. We are the Sports Illustrated home for your Alabama Crimson Tide. Yes, of course, football carries our water, and we love Alabama football and Alabama men's basketball, of course, but we cover each and every sport at the Capstone. We love the women's soccer team that's getting started. You can check out my man Will Miller's piece previewing the Alabama soccer team. Earlier this week, we actually got to see the Alabama soccer team playing Tennessee, and they came to a 2-2 draw, preseason exhibition draw. You can read all about that right there on BamaCentral.com. And, of course, we'll get into the other sports as they get rolling on the year. All right, so what are we going to do for this show today? Before we get into the show, you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, wherever you want to follow me at Joe Gaither6. We invite you to jump in on the comments section. You can send me your comments, questions, queries, and complaints, critiques as well. Trying to get as many C words all the way in a row. Comments, critiques, compliments, anywhere. You can drop them right in there on the Facebook side of things, Twitter side of things, YouTube, or Instagram, Snapchat, whatever you like, Joe Gaither 6. You can find me right there. All right, so what we will do today, it's Friday. Hope you are having a great football Friday because we are right here on the edge of football season. Oh my gosh, if you are needing football, you had it last night on the NFL Network with Houston Texans and the New England Patriots. Our man, DeMeco Ryans, got himself his first. Does it count? Does it count if it's preseason? He got himself his first preseason win. Got himself his first win as a head coach. Hard to say. I'm going to say no, it doesn't count because preseason is a bunch of hooey to me. You think about the Baltimore Ravens. They're on, a 23, 24-game preseason winning streak. Don't care. Doesn't matter. But nice to see DeMeco Ryans starting his tenure off nicely, with a 20-9 win last night. If you watched it on the NFL Network, you can, you enjoyed that. I watched just the highlights this morning because preseason football is what it is. What do you want to talk about from the game? Just 2 quick points. 2 quick points. Actually, three quick points from the game last night. One, John Mechie. John Mechie, Mr. Air Canada himself. Oh my gosh, so grateful, so happy to see John Mechie on the football field. Look, I don't care how you feel about the Houston Texans. You guys know I'm not a huge Texans fan. I think that they're a poorly run organization. It doesn't matter. John Mechie getting back on the football field last night should be celebrated by everyone, and especially from us, the Alabama Crimson Tide contingent. John Mechie last night getting action, getting out there. One target for John Mechie, 1 reception, 5 yards. Who cares whether he had 1,000,000 yards or 5 yards to overcome battling leukemia last year? And of course, it was. Look, people can say, oh, it was a low-grade form of leukemia. It doesn't matter. Leukemia and cancer is cancer. So the man had to take a whole year off from football to deal with some health issues last year. He dealt with them successfully and was back on the football field last night. So very, very happy, very grateful, very just celebrating John Mechie's progress so far this year, so far this season. Obviously getting out there and having some preseason action last night. Point number two from last night's NFL game, the preseason matchup, Houston Texans beating the New England Patriots 20-9. Will Anderson made himself felt last night from the edge, from the outside position. Let's see. Do I have any official stats from him? William Anderson. Yes. One solo tackle, but that's not really the impact. If you saw the game last night, Will Anderson flew off the top side. So that's the left side, off the top side of the screen, the left side of the screen. Flew off the edge, put massive pressure on Bailey Zappi. Zappi stepped right up, boom, into a sack. So Will Anderson already making a big impact for the Houston Texans defense. Nice to see that. One solo tackle last night. Got to give a little credit to Henry To'oTo'o. 5 total tackles, led the Houston Texans in tackles last night. So good job. Nice on you for Henry To'oTo'o. Do I have Christian Harris's stats? Christian Harris, did he make an appearance? Yeah, Christian Harris got himself a tackle and got himself one solo tackle last night. The third point from last night's NFL preseason game goes to Anthony Jennings. Anthony Jennings came up with a tackle, but come on, NFL came up with a tackle and was in on a pressure. But the NFL called him and a teammate for roughing the passer. So absolutely terrible. Henry To'oTo'o, for Anthony Jennings to get. I mean, come on, we're playing football out here. It wasn't a rough play. He ends up tackling the quarterback below the waist. Oh my gosh, sue me. Goodness gracious, the NFL, you got to at least, come on, we got to do a little better job with our roughing the passer penalties. All right, so look, that's going to be it for the preseason action last night. Look, no, Mac Jones did not play last night. Or if he did play, he didn't record any stats as I'm looking at. It was all Bailey Zappi. It was all, who's their quarterback? Bailey Zappi, Malik Cunningham, and Trace McSorley, leading the New England Patriots to a measly 9 points. So last night, look, it's preseason football. It is what it is. If you want to look at the rest of the preseason schedule, what do we have here for the rest of the schedule? Do we have any action tonight as we get going? Yeah, last night also, totally skipped over Minnesota and Seattle. Seattle beating Minnesota 24-13 tonight. Okay, yeah, we do have some action right here, 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. on the NFL Network. You've got the Green Bay Packers at the Cincinnati Bengals. We're going to have the Giants at the Lions. You're going to have Falcons at the Dolphins. You're going to have Steelers at the Buccaneers. Not the Redskins, the Commanders. The Commanders at the Browns, and the Broncos at the Cardinals. That's going to be at 9 p.m. So if you've got NFL Network and you're desperate for football, you can check out the NFL schedule this evening. I'm going to be paying attention. I'm going to be dialed into tomorrow's game. Titans at Bears at noon, and then we will hear from Nick Saban at 3:15 tomorrow. 3:15 tomorrow, and that's perfect transition for our next topic because you guys, we're not all going to talk about the NFL, and I love the Bears, but we're not going to talk about the Bears unless it's Eddie Jackson related. We are going to talk about tomorrow's scrimmage. Tomorrow's scrimmage, Alabama has its first official scrimmage. Now, last week you had open practice, and there was a little bit of live action. But it was all controlled practice. Tomorrow, we're getting into full pads, and we're tackling. We're taking guys to the ground. We are having a real scrimmage. We're going to see how the guys have progressed, and then we're going to get to hear from one Nick Saban at 3:15. So what does Nick Saban want to see? What do we want to hear? Look, we're not going to be available. We're not going to be allowed to view the scrimmage tomorrow, unfortunately. But what do we need? What do we want to hear? We want to hear how the cake is baking, obviously. You want to hear how the quarterbacks do when live bullets are flying. You want to hear, really, first and foremost, you want to hear that all the quarterbacks, Buckner, Milroe, Simpson, you want to hear that all the quarterbacks protected the football. Look, I don't care if we score 0 points or if we score 10 points this year, 17 points this year, 24 points a game, whatever. You can say whatever point number that you want. The main issue, we have to protect the football because we've talked about the defense on this program, and I think the defense is going to be very, very good this year. You have to give the defense chances on the field. You cannot turn the football over and put them up against short fields. You can't put them up against fields that are 40 yards or fewer because you've turned the ball over at midfield. You can't have interceptions into the red zone, taking points off the board. You can't have fumbles in the backfield, giving other teams opportunities to exploit your defense. So the main thing that I want to hear tomorrow from Nick Saban is that the quarterbacks protected the football. That's been the biggest issue, I think, in the quarterback battle so far, is who's protecting the football and how efficiently are they moving it at the same time. So I think you've got Tyler Buchner, who's protecting the football very, very well, but he's also, I don't think Tyler Buchner's moving the ball in practice very, very well. I think Ty Simpson and Jalen Milroe are moving the ball in practice, getting the offense down the field. But the problem is I think both those young men are a little bit careless with the football. You saw the arm punt interception from Ty Simpson last Saturday. You've seen all kinds of turnover issues from Jalen Milroe last year against Texas A&M. You just got to protect the football. That's mission critical, mission number one. Mission number two is obvious, and it's easy. We don't want to have any injuries. No injuries in a preseason scrimmage. I wish that for the NFL preseason. I wish that for Georgia's preseason. I wish that for Florida's preseason. Anybody across the country, high school preseason. If you're playing, you're getting ready for the year. Oh, man, I hope everybody stays healthy. Getting to game number one. So twofold. We're on twofold. You've got one, how do the quarterbacks protect the football? Two, we want to emerge with with perfect health across the board. Obviously, we want to have some physicality tomorrow, but we want everybody to walk away from a physical scrimmage. Bumps and bruises are fine, but no injuries. Please, dear Lord, protect our players, protect every player, trainers, anybody who's involved with the Alabama Crimson Tide team, and really every team. College, pro, high school, protect everybody playing a dangerous game of football. So what? Number three, what do you want to see? You want to see, you want to see receptions by the receivers. Last week, the drops were still a problem for the Alabama wide receivers. And so you think back to last year. Last year, Alabama was 5th in the SEC in drop rate. 5th. Terrible. Awful. I mean, I like Ja'Cory Brooks. And Ja'Cory Brooks was, had strong hands last year, but as a whole, the wide receiver room struggled with drops all year long. Jermaine Burton, I can remember a drop against Texas right off the top of my head. Jermaine Burton, Kendrick Law, Isaiah Bond, everybody struggled with drops last year. No, you want to see a massive improvement. I think those three things are your main three things that you want to see from the offensive and really from the total side of the football. You want to see the quarterbacks protect the football and move the Alabama offense down the field efficiently. Look, if you have to run 3 yards in a cloud of dust, 4 yards in a cloud of dust, if you have to dump it off to a tight end, dump it off to a running back, take your checkdowns, do it. Protect the football. Get the ball into the hands of the playmakers. Think about the skill position guys. Coach Saban and Tommy Rees have raved about the running backs. Now, granted, most of them are going to be taking handoffs from the backfield, but they can all catch the ball. We've seen Jace McClellan catch the ball. We've seen it. We've seen it. We know these guys can be effective at the passing game. All you got to do is dump the ball off, get the ball out of your hands as quickly and efficiently as possible, whether it's a 4-yard pass to Ja'Cory Brooks and let him do the rest, whether it's an underneath pass to Isaiah Bond, get the ball out of your hands, don't throw it to the other team, and move the football down the field. I think this offense is going to be a lot of fun to pay attention to this year, but you're going to have to stay kind of true to yourself. And so part of that is kind of accepting the quarterback skill sets. No, you're not going to have Bryce Young sitting back there waiting. Boom! Moonshot over the top to Jameson Williams. Sorry, it's just not going to be the case. Now, I do think Malik Benson's going to fill that role very nicely, a deep threat. I think Isaiah Bond's going to fill that role very nicely, give you another deep threat down the field. But most of the Alabama offense this year I believe is going to be play action passing, running the football, dumping down to tight end, the screen game to the wide receiver, getting the ball out of your hands quickly, giving the quarterbacks easy reads at the line of scrimmage. You got to simplify things for the quarterbacks, and I think that Tommy Rees is going to be doing that. So tomorrow, when we hear from Nick Saban at 3:15, I want to hear that all three quarterbacks, or I want to know who protected the ball. Now, Coach Saban's not going to tell you. Well, Jalen Milroe threw 5 interceptions, Ty Simpson threw 4 interceptions, and Tyler Buckner threw 3 interceptions. No, you're not going to get those kinds of details, unfortunately. But I just want to hear that the quarterbacks are protecting the football, moving the ball efficiently down the field, getting out. I mean, literally, I love you, Bryce Young. I love Bryce Young. Like, literally, I'll cut my arm off for Bryce Young right now. But baby Bryce and Tua had a tendency to hold the football, wait. Now, part of that was due to last year. I think the wide receivers did a subpar job in separating down the field. This year, we're going to have to get the ball out quickly, efficiently, stay on time in the pocket. You're going to get in trouble when you're holding the football, whether you're Simpson, Milroe, or Buckner. I think you're going to get in trouble if you hold the football, wait, trying to think about everything too much. Just play football. Get out there and play football. And so tomorrow, when Nick Saban meets with the media at 3:15, I want to hear that the quarterbacks protected the football very, very well. And then secondly, for the wide receivers, I want to hear that the drops that we saw last weekend were better, cleaned up. I mean, obviously it's not going to be perfect. You're still going to have drops, but you have to have focus. You have to, I mean, if you're a wide receiver and you're dropping the football, you're worthless to me. I'm sorry. You're just worthless to me. You're a glorified blocker at that point. If you're running routes, you have to be a passing option. You have to be a receiving option for one Ty Simpson, Jalen Milroe, or Tyler Buckner. We cannot have an issue where we're throwing the ball to receivers and you're having, decent throws, good throws that can be caught, throws that should be caught, and then having them drop. You saw it last week in Bryant-Denny Stadium, a couple of drops from a couple of different guys. When you're breaking in quarterbacks, you have to have a consistent. You got to support your quarterbacks. So hopefully tomorrow when Coach Saban talks to the media, he's going to compliment the wide receivers for cleaning up some of their drop issues. And, you're going to be wanting to see that going forward throughout the rest of the year. You've got to find a group of, Coach said, we have 15 wide receivers. He was joking with Nick Kelly. Do you want to ask about a specific wide receiver? Looks like I unplugged my mic. How about that? Oh, let's try that again. Blue snow, boom. Yeah, get us back on the right microphone. Sorry about that. No, Coach Saban joking with Nick Kelly last week about, do you want to ask about a specific receiver? We have 15 of them. Well, Coach, you're going to have to narrow it down from 15 to about 5. Which 5 can you count on? I think you've got a lot of talent. Which 5 are we going to count on? We're going to count on Malik Benson. We're going to count on Ja'Cory Brooks. We're going to count on Isaiah Bond. We're going to count on Jermaine Burton. We're going to count on Kobe Prentice, Kendrick Law, maybe. I mean, are those our 6? Are those the guys? The guys that are going to lead the Alabama offense forward. I mean, you hear a lot about Jalen Hale and Jaron Hamilton. You hear, nice things about them. Cole Adams as well. The freshman guys coming in and have impressed so far. Who can we rely on? We cannot be throwing anybody out there who has drop issues. I'm sorry, if Jermaine Burton still has drop issues from last year, boot him. Send him down the depth chart. Sorry. I mean, at this point, look, I know Coach Saban is very, very loyal. Is very loyal to older players and is very loyal to players who very loyal to players who stick around the program and play very well. But if Jermaine Burton, if you still have drop issues from last year carrying over into this year, you got to fall down the depth chart, my man. We have to play the guys who are producing consistently. All right, anything from the defensive side that you want to hear from Coach Saban tomorrow? I don't really, I think the defense is well ahead of the offense right now. I think the defense has performed very nicely through the first part of camp, and I think the defense with Kevin Steele is very hungry. So tomorrow, I think the main defensive note that I want to hear from Coach Nick Saban is the fact that everybody stays healthy. I want to hear, obviously, how Deontay Lawson plays. I think Deontay Lawson is going to be a superstar in this league this year. It's going to be Deontay Lawson breakout season for the Alabama Crimson Tide. I want to hear how the defensive line plays. I'm very, very confident in Jaheim Otis. I'm not so confident in Tim Smith. I have mild confidence in Justin Aboigbe, but those two guys, Aboigbe and Tim Smith, both have to do it this year. Obviously, if you watched last year's team, the defensive line really struggled when Justin Aboigbe got hurt. When Justin Aboigbe had a neck injury, missed the rest of the year, you struggled to find consistent pressure up the middle, and you saw Pete Golding kind of address that or mitigate that by kicking Will Anderson inside. And come on, that was not a very good thing to do, not maximizing Will Anderson's skill sets, but it seemed like that was the only answer that Pete Golding had to last year's Justin Aboigbe injury. So Aboigbe, we got to stay healthy, and Tim Smith, we got to stay healthy. But both those guys need to step up and play like upperclassmen. It's their time. It's their time. I think Jaheim Otis is going to give you a lot right up the middle. And so tomorrow from Nick Saban, I want to hear how the veterans all along the defensive line perform. So we'll talk to Nick Saban tomorrow at 3:15, and you can follow myself and Austin Hannon and Katie Wyndham and all of the BamaCentral crew as we're going to be in the Bryant-Denny Stadium media room, 3:15 tomorrow. They'll wrap up practice. I'll probably have to cut off my my Bears-Titans preseason game, but that is no problem at all because we are here for you, the Alabama Crimson Tide fans, and I'll catch up on my Bears preseason action after the scrimmage. All right, so I want to steal one more topic. Look, we're going to do a little shorter show today just because it's Friday, and I've been a little busy this morning keeping up with some of the news, and we had a little work meeting. No big deal. Love you, everybody, tuning in and sticking with us, even though we went on a little late today. One more topic for the day, and this will be kind of a brainstorming topic as we go. I'm stealing from Just a Minute, right there on the BamaCentral YouTube channel. You can see Katie Wyndham and Austin Hannon, their episode of Just a Minute from this week. And I'm stealing their topic, and we're going to elaborate on it just a little bit. Their topic, a little water. Their topic from Just a Minute this past week on the BamaCentral YouTube channel was about the Nick Saban speakers, was about the speakers that Coach Saban has had so far in camp. Look, you have seen, if you're following BamaCentral, if you're following any outlet, you've seen the speakers already this year. We have had Pete Rose, we've had C.L. Shepard, and we've had Inky Johnson. If you don't know Inky Johnson was a defensive back for the University of Tennessee. He got injured, I believe it was against Air Force, probably 2007, 2008. I actually was in the stadium that night with my friend Taylor Gibson, big old Tennessee fan. Shout out to you, Taylor. Love you, buddy. Thanks for all those times in dirty Neyland Stadium. But it was a fun night. Those are fun memories. But Inky Johnson got hurt, I remember, down in the far end zone from where we were, got hurt. Game was suspended for a lot of time because he ended up having some sort of vein pinch issue. Subsequently, he lost his arm. He lost his arm due to the injury. You see him now. He's got a prosthetic, and he's living life. He works as a motivational speaker and basically talks about all the things that he's overcome. So you've had 3 speakers already come into the Alabama Crimson Tide program this year. Pete Rose seemed like his main point, or his main issue, everything that he talked about was to talk about competitiveness, to talk about becoming, working hard, overcoming a lack of talent is what Coach Saban kind of said. Yes, he touched on the gambling, and we talked about that yesterday, just on the fact that maybe Coach Saban should have pushed him to talk about the gambling and sexual indecency issue more than the competitiveness, but that's neither here nor there. C.L. Shepard, Coach Saban talked about his theme was basically how to be a man in today's society, how to be a man, working their way in 2023, how to be a leader in society. And then Inky Johnson, you can just infer that his talk was about really overcoming adversity, staying the course, and really Inky Johnson is a very spiritual man, and so you can infer that his message was staying close to God, God's plan. So on Just a Minute this past week with Katie Wyndham and Austin Hannon, they broke down who they would like to see in a dream scenario come to the Alabama Crimson Tide team to do a little motivational speaking or to speak to the team. And so I'm stealing from them this topic. Katie Wyndham highlighting Simone Biles and highlighting Chris Pratt as an outside the football world, outside the sports world. And then my man Austin Hannon, I believe, highlighting LeBron James. I think that was his pick. You're going to have to go back and look at it on Just a Minute on the BamaCentral YouTube channel. What about me? What about you? Who would you want Alabama to bring in for their motivational speakers? You can talk about really anyone in the world. Coach Saban has reached out to almost anyone and everyone. You can all remember the Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan being invited in to speak. I know he's had Mike Tyson come in to speak as well. We had it seemed like Bill Goldberg earlier in the year. You've had Charles Barkley a couple of different times. You've had the who's who. The who's who of sports and media jump in and join the Alabama Crimson Tide team. I got three guys from the football world that I think might be interesting, or at least my picks would be. I think you go out and you say, okay, Tom Brady, you've retired now. Come in to speak to the Alabama Crimson Tide team. Obviously, you all think back to Tom Brady beating Alabama in the 99 Orange Bowl, 99 or 2000 Orange Bowl, right before he was drafted. Of course, and then obviously Tom Brady's illustrious career. Seven Super Bowls, numerous other AFC championship appearances, and obviously his legacy speaks for itself as a winner. Now that Tom Brady is out of active football, Tom Brady would probably be my leading pick to come in and talk about the day-to-day grind, because Tom Brady, he could have packed it in 10 years ago. He could have packed it in 10 years ago and still would have had a Hall of Fame career to lean on. Tom Brady, what motivates you? What motivates you to go through and what motivates you to take each and every day with that edge on your shoulder, with that edge on that competitive edge? It would be, I think, very similar to the Kobe Bryant discussion, where Kobe came in and talked about, maintaining your edge and treating every day as its own, as its own competitive moment and maximizing every day. I think Tom Brady would be great, really also in his advice for off the field, how you take care of yourself off the field. Tom Brady obviously took care of himself on the field, watching a lot of film and preparing for games. But one thing about Brady, you can talk about the TB12 diet and this, that, and the other. Tom Brady totally really went all full facets. How can I maximize full facets? You can look at his diet and his approach to his diet and what he intakes. No processed foods and very little alcohol, and smart decisions for him. Some of that surely was motivated by his former supermodel, his supermodel ex-wife. I'm sure, trying to take care of his appearance, making himself marketable. But I'm sure that you've got, everybody on the TB12 diet, a part of it was to keep him healthy. You think about Tom Brady, how many injuries did he really have? He tore an ACL. He tore an ACL in 08, 09, 10, somewhere around there. You had Matt Castle come in for them. He tore an ACL then, but really outside of that, what injuries did Tom Brady ever really sustain? Of course, you have the injuries that were never really reported. That happens in football. But I would bring in Tom Brady to talk about the total approach to dominating the game. I think you could have him and Amy Bragg talk hand in hand about the importance of the diet, importance of what you are intaking. Look, I know these guys are college kids and college men, college age athletes. And I know what I did in college, consumed probably way too much beer and, enjoyed myself way too much. You can scientifically lay it out that, hey, when you guys drink beer, when you guys drink alcohol, it has this negative effect on your exercise and your workout. I think Tom Brady would make for a great guest coming in to speak to the Alabama Crimson Tide team. Continuing on that, I think Peyton Manning would be a great choice. Now, of course, you have the Tennessee connection, and people would say, "Oh, boo on that." But Inky Johnson, who was in the facility this weekend, graduated from the University of Tennessee as well. I think once you get past the rivalry, Peyton Manning would be a great speaker. He'd be a great speaker on how to manage your brand because, look, no one's successfully managed their brand better than the entire Manning family. Now, I know that we lost out on Arch Manning and went to Texas. I think there was a little bit of backing off on the Alabama side there. But Peyton Manning, I mean, his career speaks for itself as well. The day in and day out grind, the approach to football, the approach to winning at such a high level, the approach to playing and performing at such a high level, and really holding your teammates and being accountable to your teammates. I think Peyton Manning would be a great, great speaker for that end. I have one more name on my list, and this is kind of just a personal name. I would love to hear from Brian Urlacher. Brian Urlacher, obviously former Bears great, Hall of Famer in the NFL. He played safety in college and then got moved to inside linebacker in the professional ranks. I think Brian Urlacher would be a great player to come in and speak to the Alabama Crimson Tide, but you probably have more success or be more likely to bring in a guy like Jason Taylor or Zach Thomas, two former Miami Dolphins playing for Nick Saban. Those two guys would probably bring you similar messages of Brian Urlacher, and they have a closer connection to one Nick Saban. So I kind of would throw those names out there as guys you want to bring in. Look, Ray Lewis has come in and spoken to the team before. The speaker series, I think Coach Saban takes a lot of pride in. I think Coach Saban takes a lot of pride in bringing in big names and being able to say, "Hey, I bring in these big names. Look at all these celebrities that come and speak to the team. This is just another reason why we do it better and do it the best here at Alabama." And he uses them really for recruiting ploys. So, what could Nick Saban see maybe in the business world outside of football? Outside of football, who? What's up, CJ Watson? Appreciate you watching us and joining us on the Facebook side. Good afternoon to you as well. CJ, if you were Nick Saban, who do you want? Who would you want to come in and speak to the team? We've already obviously highlighted Pete Rose, C.L. Shepard, and Inky Johnson already this week. And then we're talking about hypothetical names that Nick Saban could bring in. I've thrown out Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and Brian Urlacher. I've thrown out Jason Taylor and Zach Thomas also from the football side. So let's think about non-football. I mean, this is really cliche, but let's bring in Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift, the marketing genius. It's the NIL world. Whether you like Taylor Swift or not, her music or not. Let's think about her as a businesswoman. She is a business genius. Goodness gracious! I think that her from a musical side. All right, you can appreciate her music or not, doesn't matter. But she has perfectly constructed her image throughout time, and now you look at what she's doing on the concert, the Eras tours. People spending thousands and thousands of dollars to see her. People lining up to get her merchandise, spending way too much money. You see our man Mac Jones wearing his Eras Tour sweatshirt yesterday. So maybe you bring in someone who's a marketing genius, a business genius. You think about Coach brought in Gary Vaynerchuk a couple years ago, and so you think about maybe Coach will lean back into business senses. I like your suggestion, C.J. Watson. Tony Dungy would be an excellent suggestion. Awesome suggestion, because not only do you have a long and deep history of football success, but you have real personal problems that you had to overcome. Tony Dungy with his son passing away. I think his son passed away through an overdose or a car accident. Either way, he lost his son, tragically speaking, overcoming, trusting in God, trusting in the Lord and his plan for his life. Tony Dungy, strong Christian. You can read his book. I've read his book. It's a beautiful book. Tony Dungy would be a great suggestion, CJ. I think that's very, very strong. Obviously, his time dating back to the Tampa Bay Bucks and going to the Colts, and he played in the NFL, so he's seen everything in the football world. He has seen literally everything in the football world, and whether you agree with Tony Dungy's outlooks or not, I think that his character speaks for itself, and he can tell a very, very compelling story about overcoming loss and really staying the course and staying faithful to God. That's a great suggestion, CJ. Bravo. Excuse me. All right, so I don't have many more other topics for the day, because we are, we're right here rounding out the week. You can go read all our friends at BamaCentral.com. We just put out a recruiting rundown. Let's just hit some highlights real quick. If you guys, oh, yep, CJ, we did get Michael Jordan on Zoom. We got Michael Jordan on Zoom to see the COVID year, the 2020 COVID year, but we'd love to have him in person. Coach Saban, I know Coach Saban loves his competitive spirit. And look, you can talk about gambling with Michael Jordan. You can also talk about marketing and business savvy and business sense with Michael Jordan. Not everything that Michael did was perfect, but goodness gracious, he's got a lot of success stories to tell. I don't always, CJ, love the I don't always love the competitive, like, oh, I'm going to be such a competitor where I'm going to punch my teammates. But I think Coach Saban loves it. I think Coach Saban loves it when you think back to bringing in Kobe Bryant and then obviously Michael Jordan. I think Pete Rose was very, very similar to that. This past week, I think Coach Saban really, really loves the a-hole competitor, the hateful competitor, as Coach Saban said last year on a Hey Coach show. And just between you and me, I cannot wait for, I think it's next week. Next week, our first Hey Coach will be on next Thursday. I can't wait to get that started back up because Coach will really show his personality at Hey Coach. Let's hit those recruiting highlights before we get out of here for the day. And I appreciate everybody jumping in, listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, watching us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. You can join CJ Watson on the comments section if you want to chime in on who you would like to hear from, who you would like to hear Alabama bring in. Who's the lady that Prime brought in? Who's the lady that Coach Prime brought in last year to Jackson State? The dating coach, what's her name? He brought in some celebrity dating coach to warn or prepare his players about the dangers of the Instagram models, maybe the dangers of women who may or may not have your best interests in heart. Maybe Coach Saban can take a page out of the Coach Prime playbook and educate our guys on making smart decisions in their relationships as well. The recruiting headlines for the week are as follows. Obviously, you saw Alabama brought in two safeties, Peyton Woodyard and Red Morgan. We talked about those two guys on the program, Tuesday and Wednesday. You brought in Peyton Woodyard and Red Morgan. Your next kind of targets this coming up week, you're thinking about tight end out of Alabama. Let me make sure that I get everything right. Yeah, perfect. Tight end out of Alabama. You're looking to get Jay Lindsey out of Butler, Alabama. Jay Lindsey already committed to Mississippi State. Yes, he is another 3-star prospect. You guys can make fun of that if you want to or not. I will never make fun of anybody that Coach Saban identifies as being part of quality, 3-star or not. I think that Coach Saban trusts his eye. Jay Lindsey out of Butler, Alabama. You're looking for him to flip from Mississippi State any day now. Now, next week, you're looking for kind of a real interesting prospect. Next Friday, you guys remember Drake Kirkpatrick? Drake Kirkpatrick of Alabama, former Alabama cornerback. His son, Drake Kirkpatrick Jr. will be committing next Friday, and he is choosing between Alabama, Auburn, Missouri, and Arkansas. So that's going to be next Friday. We'll look to see if we can add Drake Kirkpatrick Jr. to the class. And then really the only other football recruiting note is just a rumor, is just a whisper. Will Ryan Williams reclassify into the 2024 class? Oof, boy. Now, look, if you guys aren't following Ryan Williams at all, you're missing out on the most electric player in the state of Alabama. He's in the 2025 class, so he's a rising junior. Yeah, he's supposed to have 2 more years of high school, but this dude is, oh my God, every curse word in the book. He is that nasty. He is that just talented, just dripping with talent, just agility, speed, playmaking ability. You get the ball in his hands. Look, everybody remembers David Palmer. He's, in my opinion, very, very, very David Palmer-esque. You want to get him the football in every way possible. He is going to absolutely destroy colleges when he gets there. He's already destroying the Alabama high school scene, leading Saraland to a state championship last year, looking to repeat as state champions this year. There are rumors, there are whispers of Ryan Williams reclassifying into the 2024 class. And what would that mean for Alabama? That would mean a huge addition to the 24 class. He's already committed for the 25 class. So we've already got him locked into the Tide. But you see what you got with the receivers, Rico Scott and Amari Jefferson. Obviously, we all know we lost Perry Thompson a couple of weeks ago to the Auburn Tigers. But, oh well. You bring in Ryan Williams, you get him to reclassify. I think Ryan Williams, once he gets here, whether it's in 25 or 24, is going to be one of those freshmen that just light the college football world on fire. You're going to see Ryan Williams for 3 years, and then he is going to go as a first-round draft pick, barring health. And we hope for health for everyone, whether they go to Alabama or anywhere else, honestly. But if he stays healthy, goodness gracious, Ryan Williams is going to be a hell of a player for this Alabama Crimson Tide team whenever he arrives to the capstone. Just rumors, just whispers right now, but rumors and whispers about Ryan Williams reclassifying into the 2024 class. All right, so that's going to do it for our program today. I'm going to consider doing a surprise show tomorrow after the scrimmage. We'll see if I get enough juice out of sources and out of Nick Saban. We'll consider doing that. If not, we'll obviously be back on Monday. I'm going to get back on my train about getting some of these recruits onto the show, getting some guests onto the show. Ooh, we went all week long without a guest, and I don't like that. You don't like that either. We want to bring in strong guests for you guys to hear, and I want to be delivering that for you guys right here on BamaCentral. So I'm going to be getting back on my train of getting guests on. I was, a little sick last week, trying to get right back into a rhythm this week, and we are going to 23 days away from Alabama kicking it off against MTSU. It's right around the corner, folks. Enjoy the football tonight on NFL Network. If you have NFL Network, you're going to see football starting at 6 p.m. Those ugly Green Bay Packers are going to be on the television. Green Bay Packers and the Cincinnati Bengals at 6 p.m. And then you'll have more football on noon tomorrow on NFL Network as well. Yes, sir, CJ Watson. Have a blessed weekend as well. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you so much for the comments and for tuning in anytime. If you missed any episode, you can watch it again on YouTube. They're all documented on our Facebook and Twitter. You can hear them on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on Amazon. Tell a friend about the program, or right around the corner, we'll be keeping an eye on every sport that Alabama's competing in, and really any news or notes that touches the Alabama Crimson Tide in any way. That's going to do it. I hope you all have a beautiful weekend. I hope the weather's great wherever you're tuning in from. Get out there, spend some time with your family, do something productive, do something for your mental health, spend some time with the Lord, and we appreciate you. We will catch up with you on Monday for another edition of the Alabama Crimson, of the Joe Gaither Show. It'll be another edition of the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com on Monday.